Hi, everybody, and welcome to the early edition. This is our NFL review and preview edition of ProLine. Jim Feist is here. Fairway Jay is here. I'm Dave Cokin, and it's nice to have you with us as we bask in the aftermath of an unbelievable Monday Night Football game that we're going to talk about in just a moment, because that sure wrapped up a crazy week in the National Football League, one of the most astonishing spread weeks we'll ever see. But before we get to that, let's let everybody know what's happening moving forward. We talk about a lot about what just happened, but we also like to talk about what's happening moving forward as far as what we've got coming up. I'm going to start this time. I got to tell you straight out, I did not have a good weekend. I got moosed in a couple of games. There's no question about that. And I also made some bad picks. Nobody wins all the time at this. I've had a good start in the season, but gave back some this weekend. Fortunately, I was on the Broncos Monday night for a big play, and that really helped. But this weekend is going to be awesome. Really like the schedule, jumped out at me, and I've got 2 college conference games of the year going on Saturday. 2 games, and these are big plays for $10, and I'm going to guarantee them. I don't put the guarantees out unless I really feel good about a game, and I feel great about these. 2-0 guarantee, or the rest of October is free. Sign up early, you get a bonus TV winner going tonight. Again, it's just $10. And these are 2 conference games of the year, $99 online each. So you're saving a great deal of money and getting cream of the crop stuff. 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Fairway Jay, college football game of the year was on Saturday, and it worked out rather well. Nice going.
Thanks, Dave. Rice delivered big, 34-14. It's our college football game of the year. Again, we had a really good midweek report again. We've been winning during the midweeks. Dave, we had Tulsa again, rode that Western Kentucky money machine. Incredible as they continue on. And then it's great when you hit the big plays. We went 4-0 on our top plays, 3-0 on the top plays in the NFL with Dallas, the Baltimore-Dallas over. And then Monday night, I, like you, had the Broncos, which was a great comeback. So we're coming back strong again. We got a one-time offer going. Play the rest of the NFL regular season for just $10. That's 10 weeks for $10. It's this week only, and we're going to include our Thursday night NFL total of the year goes this Thursday. That's the Seattle-San Francisco game. Get that along with the underdog game of the year going in NFC action on Sunday. 1-866-896-1627. We'll look to hit the big plays again this week, Dave.
Way to go, Fairway. And Jim, it's been all year long for you in the NFL. I mean, you're really having a good season. And part of the reason for that, I know, you like dogs in the NFL, which so do I, but I know you really like them. And boy, oh boy, that's the right way to be playing this year. What is it, 16-7 run right now?
I don't know if that, I don't think that includes last night's victory on the total over. So it might be 17-7. I didn't update the records yet, but I had the over last night. The funny thing was, Dave, I was talking to the guys in the office and we're trying to decide, if we should use the side in the game. And I said, the game opened San Diego 3, and I immediately jumped on Denver +3. And then during the week, it started to move, and the game went to down to 2, and then to 1. And then pick 'em, and then I saw a couple places went to Denver 1, and I said, wait a minute, this is insane. They're all betting on Peyton Manning. I mean, this other team can play too. Granted, I'm not a big Norv Turner fan, and I hate betting on the guy because if he's playing a big game, he just doesn't do it. He just doesn't get it done. I mean, this is the guy that replaced. Remember now, this whole This whole thing going on down in San Diego is unbelievable. Marty Schottenheimer, 14-1, they get rid of him. They bring in whatever his name, AJ something or other, and they bring in this guy who's never been a winning head coach, a good offensive coordinator, never a winning head coach, and he had all the talent in the world. Everybody made this team the favorite to win the Super Bowl for the last 5 years, and they just blew it up. Threw it all away. It's just a disaster. I guess that's what you call nepotism. But I couldn't bet on them last night, even though the line I felt was wrong. I thought the money was going in the wrong direction. I thought it was an even game, and they shouldn't be betting all that money on Denver. And everybody had Denver. So I said, I cannot use the side in this game. I'm going to stick with my original thought that this is an overplay, and I love the over. So I made a big play on the over, and I had an opinion on San Diego because at that point they were +1. Turned out the way it should be. I mean, it was kind of like you win the first half, I win the second half kind of garbage. But they're not, Denver's not a Super Bowl team. They have too many flaws. Peyton plays great, but this isn't the Indianapolis Colts. This is the Denver Broncos. And he doesn't have all the people around him he needs. But he's still a great quarterback. Anyway, I've been winning a lot of money. It's not too often you have a personal six-figure Sunday, and I did 2 weeks ago, and I was damn close this week as well. So it's pretty good. I'm doing very well, needless to say. The dogs aren't the only thing barking in the NFL. 17-7 in the NFL includes my 2-0 inner circle sweep on Sunday that I told you about last week. 2 plays, $5. Where were you? If you didn't call, you're the loser, baby, because the Browns win 34-24, and the Giants win 26-3. I never thought they'd win by 23 on the road, though. I did feel that was another one of those crazy lines, 7 points with the Giants. Are you nuts? So this week, you play through Monday night with both college and NFL executive service, plus the inner circle releases, all for $29. That's right. Saturday, Sunday, all the college, all the pro, executive, and the inner circle through Monday, $29. It will include the Thursday night NFL Inner Circle TV game of the month and my October NFL Total of the month on Sunday. Plays every day through Monday night, $29. 1-866-841-1655. If you don't call, you automatically lose because you can't win. 1-866-841-1655. Do it now.
I want to go back to the Monday Night Football game. And, this game wasn't as close as the final score. San Diego was unbelievably fortunate in this game. You had a fumbled punt. One guy actually might have been interfered with. It was real close, but you got to catch the ball. A kickoff where the Broncos were handling it like a hot potato. There's 10 points. And then you've got this crazy situation where Eric Decker's all by himself and he trips over a chalk line. And then 2 plays later, it's a pick 6 the other way. So you got San Diego had one good drive in the first half. You got a 24-0 game for San Diego at the half where Denver arguably should have been ahead. So San Diego had everything go right for them in the first half and then just got killed. They got killed in the second half of that football game. This is where, and I really do want to talk about the Chargers for a moment, and it ties in other coaches around the National Football League, and maybe even college as well. Sometimes I think coaches are just stupid or gutless, one of the two. And I know that's a broad paintbrush, a broad brush to use to paint this picture. But here's why I say it. If you don't have the personnel to run, everybody wants to throw the ball all over the place now. That's what's in. Let's throw it. Let's spread it out. No huddle, or at least get up there, make the adjustments and throw it everywhere. If you don't have the personnel to run that, for crying out loud, don't run that. San Diego is a good example. They don't have the personnel to be running a pass-first offense. They just don't. The strength of the team is run blocking and running the football. Matthews is a good back. They've got Jackie Battle as a power guy to come in. They got a couple of, Brown is not completely useless by any means. Their receivers are below average. Malcolm Floyd is not a feature receiver. Meacham, are you kidding? Gates has seen better days as a tight end. He can still occasionally have a good game, but he basically can't stay in the lineup for more than 2 weeks at a time. This is a team that needs to be playing ball control offense where they're running the ball. I'd say 50, and based on the stats, by the way, I think they ought to be running the ball 55% of the time. Now, I don't want to single out Norv Turner, because he's not the only guy who does this. But to me, the second half of last night's game is a classic example of this, of not running the right offense to suit your personnel, and therefore not being able to run the right offense in game situations. You're up 24-0 for crying out loud. You've been handed a huge gift. Run the freaking ball. What are they doing? And he's not the only one, Jay, so I don't want to make it seem like it's just bash Norv. But he's guilty.
My comment was going to be that, I've always talked to Belichick as Belichick is the best game-to-game, week-to-week manager of finding a team's weakness. The week before, the Broncos were at New England, and the Patriots ran the ball. I mean, this is incredible. New England ran the ball 54 times for 251 yards. So you would think San Diego, just watching tape, would see that there was a weakness there. Now certainly teams make adjustments, and Denver's got some good defensive personnel, but I agree. I mean, they're up 24-0. You don't want to just sit on the lead. But the key interception, obviously, that got Denver back in that with Rivers, the pick six. They have a chance to really grind and run the ball. Now, they did outrush Denver in this game. Obviously, they were out ahead, so Denver was going to have to pass more. 90-57 was the rushing yardage, but Manning skews so many statistics. He just reads defenses. He can run that short passing game if he needs to. But my comment is as well, I think San Diego can have balance on offense. They should have been running the ball more, just based on what the problems Denver had stopping New England's running game the week before. You would think that they'd utilize that, but and then Jim's comment about Norv Turner, I mean, it was just bad second half adjustments, and it kind of snowballed on them. But the reality is, they just I don't think they took advantage of what was there to run the ball more effectively against Denver.
Not all coaches, not all owners, not all quarterbacks, not all defensive backs are created equal. That is the way life is. These guys are not all the same. Norv Turner is not a head coach. Period. End of statement. This guy has blown more opportunity to get into the playoffs and win big time. He cannot coach. He's a good offensive coach. He's a terrible in-game manager. We've seen it in all sports. There's guys like this. And then, of course, you have owners like Al Davis, may rest in peace, but then Jerry Jones, who manages a game worse than the Dallas Cowboys. What a fiasco at the end of the game. They couldn't. I feel sorry for Tony Romo. I wouldn't want to be a goddamn quarterback for that team. They have no in-game management whatsoever. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're blowing their money. They ought to go back to college, all of them, coaches included, because they cannot coach. They're terrible. And Jerry Jones is still running that team. If he'd get out of his own ego and hire people to let them rant, they have the talent to be good. They can do it. But that was unbelievable. To watch that was, I had to go puke.
You know, what's interesting here, and it's an interesting correlation, where you could be Jerry Jones he's a genius in a lot of ways. I mean, he's an incredibly successful man. Here's the difference, and I'll say this, I've been with Jim for, since 1989. I've been part of this company. Now, Jim's a tremendous entrepreneur. He's extremely successful, like Jerry Jones. The difference is that, Jim, you learned long ago to delegate authority in terms of running the company and kind of get out of the way and let people who are really qualified to do what they do what they do. And that's part of the reason that this company's been so successful for a long time. It's not just about handicapping. Let's be honest. It's about a lot of things to make this particular type of business work. Jerry Jones, the difference is Jerry Jones, for as brilliant as he is in many walks of life, he's a smarter guy than I'll ever be. He's an absolute genius when it comes to entrepreneurial abilities. But he cannot separate his ego from running this particular company. And he has never allowed football people to run the game. Run the team. He has to run it in every regard. He has to have his stamp on everything. And his own ego has taken them from being what was perennially a great organization to an absolute middle-of-the-pack, mediocre NFL squad. that will not change until he changes. If he can't learn to delegate authority, and that's why he can't hire a good coach. Bill Cowher doesn't want to coach there. John Gruden doesn't want to coach. There's got great coaches that are available that won't take that job because they know they're not going to be able to run the team the way they see fit. You see what happens after a bad loss. Who's the guy on camera explaining? Hell, it's not even the coach. Jerry Jones has got to get in there and do that. He's the problem in Dallas. I mean, I'd like to blame it on the coaches, but he can't hire the right people because the right people won't go to work for him in that line of his work.
There are coaches, Dave, that certainly have egos, and Holmgren always had to have control. Jeff Fisher is one who was in the running for the Dolphins job, but he didn't take it because they weren't going to give him enough control. He's got the control now at St. Louis that he wanted, and that control allows him to, like you said, make the decisions on who my coaches are going to be, the draft. You know, and he didn't want to draft Vince Young when he was at Tennessee, and the owner said we were taking Vince Young, and so. You're right, you gotta let these guys who know the game, they've been in the league, they understand, and let them make the decisions. And I agree, Jerry Jones, unfortunately Garrett, the coach there, is kind of a puppet, much like many of the coaches that have come through Oakland when Al Davis was there. And it's just, to watch, now Baltimore is a very tough place to go and win, but again, the statistical profile, I keep a lot of stats and rushings, and there's only been a handful, maybe 6-7 times this season. And it was one time this last week where a team gets 30 first downs, at least 30 first downs in a game. Dallas had 30 first downs, 227 rushing yards, 42 times they run the ball, 481 yards, and they don't win that game. They only had one turnover. They're just making mistakes, and it's frustrating. I had Dallas. They covered. Had the over as well, but to see them not get a win when they statistically and really control most of that game, that's frustrating.
I want to ask you,
moves
Jim.
Today. You talked about Holmgren. Holmgren was let go today.
Yeah,
out the door. And someone fired the defensive coach, and I didn't quite catch it on
Castillo.
the news.
Is that
that was Dave?
Castillo from the Eagles. They had to find.
Okay.
They had to find. You know what that comes down to? You can't fire the quarterback, so you may as well fire. Not that Castillo's been any good. The guy they need to fire. The guy they need to fire in Philadelphia is the guy that keeps Vic there, and that's Andy Reid. Well, he's gone at the end of the year. None of those guys are going to be back. I don't think any of those guys are going to be back.
Reid's fired.
I believe that I don't know what Vic's contract status is, but in the NFL, very few contracts are guaranteed. So my guess is they will be looking for another quarterback and another head coach, and meanwhile they've already got an interim defensive coordinator, and they can't hold the lead. Back-to-back blown fourth-quarter leads. Does sound familiar? They were doing the whole same thing last year too. Not a very smart football team. I think Andy Reid's been a good coach over the years, but it's just not working there anymore. And I think Andy Reid can still win someplace else. I think he still is a good football coach, but sometimes you just get burned out in one situation. And he's had so many difficult off-the-field issues with family and things like that. It might be best if there's a break from the organization at this point.
The break should be Michael Vick. And I'm not just. He was a coach killer at Atlanta. He got Reeves fired, and he did. He's holding that offense back, and they've got the defensive personnel to compete every single week, and they just are not getting it done. Turnovers and mistakes, and it goes way beyond the offensive production. Not accurate. Running deep routes so they can open up the field so he can run, and then he's fumbling, and that's the problem. The quarterback play to me, and whether they turn to a rookie Foles or not, I don't know. But Andy Reid has proven, Dave, like you said, he's proven he's a good coach and he can win, and he has the respect of the players. But maybe there comes a time when it's maybe time to move on, and that could be the case.
All right, I want to ask a question here, guys. When's the last time we saw a team that's as good in big games as the New York Football Giants? Oh, man, I'm telling you, when the money's on the line, this team steps up. They may flatten out. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a real tough time with Washington this weekend, because this is the Giants' MO. They flatten out against lesser competition. You saw what happened last week with the Browns, where they were down 14-0 in that game. So I in fact, I will tell you, I already bet Washington +7 on Sunday night. You won't see that number again, I don't think.
Dave, to answer your question, this organization, everybody talks every week about who the best team in football is. And generally speaking, they don't mention the Giants. It's Houston, or it's San Francisco, or it's this or that, or it's, but this team is the Super Bowl champ. They won 2 out of the last, 3 or 4? I don't remember, but Eli Manning is, every bit as good as Peyton Manning or better. They're amazing. And who gets beat up more than this guy does and produces anyway? It's incredible. Coughlin is a great coach. He never gets any credit, but all they do is win. But like you said, they flatten out so people forget them. Yeah, they had a 3,000-mile trip to the West Coast. They win big, monster. Now they got to fly all the way home. And Washington's down the road. They had a big win. That turnpike ride up to New York to play another game. Washington beat them twice last year. It's a big game, in-division game. Granted, we know that the Giants are better. What Giant team will show up? That's the question when it comes to you. I don't disagree with you, Dave, about what your assessment is at all.
But the thing is,
I want to ask Jay something. I'm looking at your stat sheet here, Jay. Jay does some great stat work. The Dolphins ran the ball for 19 yards. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
On 18 carries.
Yeah, Reggie Bush.
Are you serious?
They were under 4 yards of play, and the Rams put up 460 yards of offense and lose that game as well.
6.7 yards per play to 3.9, they lose the game.
And
only one turnover. That's amazing.
So that just tells you they were moving the ball, but they were probably not. Let me look at the third down. Yeah, 3 of 13 on third down, so they were not making the play to move the chain when they needed to.
Miami team's pretty good defensively. Philbin's doing a good job.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a reason I brought up the Giants at the end of the conversation, because I knew we were going to talk about San Diego and Dallas, where you've got San Diego with an ownership that's way too loyal to, quite frankly, his buddy, A.J. Smith, who's the GM, who in turn is too loyal to his coach, Norv Turner, and they won't do what's best for the football team. We've got a Dallas squad where the guy who's a winner at everything in life except running a football team is Jerry Jones. And then you go to the Giants, and there's a reason they win, and it's because the Maras have never had the ego that says, we have to be out front. It's our football team, and we've got to be the stars on camera. The Maras would just as soon not even be identified. They want to stay in the background. Consequently, they've got the right people running the football team. They stay out of it themselves. And it's why the Giants right now are the best franchise in the National Football League. It's, to me, as clear as day. It does start at the top in every business, including football. It starts at the top. And so there's food for thought.
It does.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Let everybody know what we've got this weekend. And a reminder, this is just the first of 3 shows that we do each week. We've got our NFL preview show still to come, and our college preview show as well. So make sure and check the website every day for new content. And we hope you take advantage of the offers that are available online, as well as calling the office. And Jay, let's go back to you. You deserve to be the leadoff hitter here, hitting that college football game of the year. Easy winner, by the way. You never even have to sweat that game.
Yeah, I read Jay's assessment of that game actually a little too late to fully take advantage of it personally, because in case the people out there don't realize this, but when we all do the same thing, but we do it differently, and when somebody has the kind of assessment Jay had on this game, and you respect each other's opinion, you go out and bet pretty good money on it, right? So I'm kind of upset. I get this thing late, and I have to rush to get in. I didn't get enough money down for, what I want to play, I have to go to several different spots. But it was still, it was still great. The problem was, I just got it a little late. I should open my email a little sooner. Yeah.
My delay on you, Jim, but Rice is a good one. Just I commented about the dilemma. We didn't know much about that Texas San Antonio team, but I knew they were a fraud, and it played out right. Let's keep it going here this week. The rest of the NFL regular season, just $10. That's the next 10 weeks. Call the office, and you'll get included our Thursday night total of the year going in the Niners and Seahawks game, 1-866-896-1627.
One of the nice things about having done this for this long, you don't have to BS anybody. I don't have to sit here and pretend that I win every week. I win more weeks than I don't. And my customers make money. But they don't make money every week, and we didn't do well this weekend. Again, we had a wrong side of a couple of horrible beats in there, most notably the Mississippi State-Tennessee game, which was, you got to be kidding me. But that happens, and I'm not going to bitch too much about that, because for anybody who had Arkansas on Saturday, that's a bad beat. They're up, was it 49-0? And the game they called the game early because of the weather, which means you had a 17-point favorite winning by 49 points or 45, whatever it was. No action. No action. The game didn't go 55 minutes. That's a bad beat, all right? And the bottom line is I didn't do well this weekend. Did top it off on Monday with that great comeback by the Broncos. Really needed that game. But this weekend, I'm really excited about this because I bet these two games immediately on the opening number on Sunday night. Got in there because I wanted to get the best number, and the numbers are going to hold pretty well. 2 conference games of the year, and this is it's only $10 for both games. Plus, we're going to if you sign up early. I mean, if you wait till Saturday, you'll get the games, but you won't get the bonus, which is a TV winner going tonight. So do it now. Call 1-866-896-1629. Get these 2 big games for $10. Get the bonus play as well. And watch the big rebound because it's coming this week. Going to have a real good weekend in college and pro football. Jim, 17-7 NFL run with the total last night. Getting there. The inner circle games are going well, which are really big plays. Good time to be on board with your stuff.
Dave, thank you. And thank you for the comments earlier. I'm looking, honestly, I'm looking at this card, and I'm looking for another personal six-figure week, which is big. There aren't that many football weeks in the year, and I like taking advantage of them. We didn't mention, we had scheduled to talk about the Seattle-San Francisco
I forgot all about
game.
that. I forgot all about it.
And I know we're running long, but I'll do it here if you want, just a little bit. We got the Seahawks coming back, an indescribable comeback against New England. Just New England didn't look like they had the killer instinct last week, to me. Well, I watched the entire game, the mistakes they made end of the first half when they blew the opportunity, the field goal. Brady had his head back in wherever the hell he lives. I mean, he just wasn't totally into the game. And Seattle definitely was. Seattle's a tough place to play. I mean, bottom line is that 12th man is real. They don't give up. They didn't win the game against the Packers, but they never gave up. I mean, they never quit. The intensity there in that home field is incredible. And they got a college coach with all the rah-rah stuff, and they got a college quarterback, 6 months removed from being in school. Russell Wilson, to me, is the real deal. I think he's going to be a pretty damn good pro quarterback. Is he going to be great? Manning, Brady type great? No, he's not going to be that. But he's going to be very effective. And we got some good guys coming in the league this year, and I think he's one of them. You got another team here that was inexplicably a 7-point favorite over last year's Super Bowl champ, and they got spanked. I'm talking about spanked. Holy shoot. That was incredible. And we all thought that this is the best team in football. Maybe you could throw it at Houston, who also got spanked. So I'm going to say this assessment right now, after 6 weeks, there are no A teams in the NFL. They've got a bunch of good teams that are B teams, B plus, B. And every once in a while they step up and play an A game. But that's kind of what won the Super Bowl the last couple of years. If you think about it, the Giants, we talk about they're a C team, they're a B team, and then all of a sudden they're an A team because they can step on the gas when they need to. Well, last week, the Giants needed to, and they did it. San Francisco didn't. These two teams are coming into this game off two different perspectives. Think about it. You're in those two locker rooms. One is celebrating, champagne, bottles flying all over and the other one is depressed and being very reflective. This is a big turnaround game. Seattle lost last year to this team twice. They only scored 17 points each time. And defensively, both these teams have great defenses. Now, when you rank the quarterbacks, I know you can talk about the rookie and all the other stuff that goes along with this guy. Who's the better quarterback? Is it Wilson or Alex Smith? I know the one guy has 10 years experience, but boy, I'll tell you, he's been spotty. He's had a couple good games along the way, but there's a lot of people don't think he should be the quarterback. So when you look at just that position, emotionally, San Francisco should have the upper hand here because they're coming off the big loss, embarrassed, the second home game, and Seattle should suffer some kind of a letdown. But at the quarterback position, you might have a big edge. Granted, there's things you could say about Wilson, but you can't really support Smith that much. It's going to be their running game and their defense that's going to win it if they win it. The problem is the other team has a good defense and a running game as well. So this is going to be a real good game to watch.
It's a key game, obviously, as well, Jim. Both teams are 4-2 in the division, tied with Arizona on top. I made a couple notes. Pittsburgh Steelers, Washington Redskins, and the San Francisco 49ers are the only three teams in the league that have not played a division game yet. And they're all in division action this week. And this is a big one because it's just like the San Diego game last night. It has a 2-game swing because of the importance. And in this case, they're both 4-2. I took out of that New England game that they're probably an over team. We knew they were probably an over team, but they put up 475 yards on the road against a very good Seattle defense that came in ranked number 1 in yards against. They've fallen to number 4, but they're still allowing under 300 yards per game. We'll see what the intent. I know the intensity level will be high this week. We'll see like you said, which quarterback's better. They're going to have to make plays on third down this week because both these defenses are top tier, and I think you'll see a real competitive game. Despite the line being 7, I can see turnovers in a big division game when defenses are so strong certainly make a difference. But obviously, the Niners are going to have to be much more efficient offensively, and that could be tough against Seattle this week as well.
I'm going to withhold judgment on this game for now. Jim, wrap it up by letting everybody know what you got going this weekend. I know you got a huge play coming up in the NFL. In fact, a couple of huge plays.
Yeah, Dave, a monster. You play through Monday, both my college and NFL executive service and Inner Circle releases, just $29. It will include the Thursday night action. It's all $29. I mean, if you don't make the call, how are you going to win? 1-866-841-1655. Last week I told you I had two games in the NFL. There were the Browns and the Giants. It was only $5. You could have won $5,000. You could have won $50,000. You didn't win anything if you didn't call. So now you got to call. $29. 1-866-841-1655. A full weekend of executive action. Make the call. Do it now.
And we'll be back in a couple of days with the college and pro editions for this weekend, where we get some expanded previews of these games. So for Fairway Jay, for Jim Feist, I'm Dave Cokin. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and knock 'em dead.